Rules Committee met this morning to take up Senate 883, which was the sine die concurrent resolution that came over from the Senate. And let me start by explaining that, that resolution. It contained what I would describe as the standard conditions for the General Assembly to convene after we leave sine die, and that would be to come back to take up the General Appropriations Bill, generally any gubernatorial vetoes, legislation necessary to address any shortfalls in revenue, receipt and consideration of appointments, resolutions expressing sympathy or congratulations, and conference reports from conference committees. Those all, again, are the sorts of things I would describe as the regular sine die conditions. There was an amendment that was taken up, proposed by Representative Brandon Newton, that we address pursuant to a recent Supreme Court case, the congressional redistricting effort. And so the amendment that you have before you now is an amendment to that concurrent resolution. And what it says is that this General Assembly could reconvene at the call of the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate to take up or address matters introducing receipt and consideration of bills and joint resolutions affecting redistricting for the 7 seats of the U.S. House of Representatives, receipt and disposition of conference and free conference reports regarding redistricting for the 7 seats of the United States House of Representatives and any other related matters, including but not limited to the 2026 election calendar. In effect, this amendment would allow the General Assembly to meet and take up redistricting. Happy to take any questions, Mr. Speaker.
All right, Mr. Rutherford is recognized for a question.
As a matter of mechanics, tell me how this works for those people that are running for Congress and have votes already been cast in that race? Are we at that point yet?
To my knowledge, no ballots have been cast. The ballots have been distributed or are in the process of being distributed.
And so those, we would, just as a matter of mechanics, we would place those races on hold. Is that right?
Not exactly. What we would be able to do pursuant to this resolution is convene and take up matters relating to the 2026 election calendar. And so nothing in this resolution addresses what would happen. This merely provides an opportunity for what could happen. And in that vein, the General Assembly could address the sorts of questions that you're posing now.
Well, again, and I haven't decided whether I'm for or against it. I'm simply trying to figure out how South Carolina would do this. I haven't looked at the other states that have done it to see whether their primaries are further out than ours, but we are within a month or about thereabouts with our primary election. Is that right?
I suspect the gentleman in front of you knows with great specificity when the primary is.
By the gentleman in front of me, you mean Tommy Hartnett?
No, you're on the front.
Oh, okay, I couldn't. Yeah. He's kind of small when he's sitting down, so I didn't see him.
It's difficult. To answer your question, nothing here provides precisely the sorts of answers that I think you're searching for. Rather, what the resolution does is say that the General Assembly can meet to take up those issues after next Thursday and would engage in the ordinary legislative process to resolve the questions that you present.
But would it not be proper, given that our primary is about a month away, to insist that there be a deadline? Because money has been expended, candidates have decided and declared that they're running for office, raised money accordingly, spent that money, told people that they should give for their campaign, and now we are deciding by this vote to potentially put that off, and we don't know when we're going to take up putting it off, whether we're going to put it off, how much it's going to cost, how much in legal fees it's going to cost. And so just as a matter of fundamental fairness to those people that are running, shouldn't we be able to tell people today what it is exactly and when, more importantly, we plan on doing this?
Yeah, I think you get it. It's really hard. What I'm telling you, though, today is that none of those questions are answered in the resolution other than to specify that the mechanism for answering those questions, of which I agree with you, are myriad and deep, we would do that through the reconvening process.
Right, but so would it not be more prudent to put qualifications or demands on this body so that we don't have something lingering out there that the voters, and I honestly don't know how many people we have running for Congress. I don't know who all has primary opposition. I only know that at some point there is a matter of fundamental fairness that other states may not have had to deal with if their primaries were further out than ours. So was there any suggestion that if we're going to do this, that we do it right now, as soon as possible, put that language in there so that we are not just lingering with this and not telling our voters, our constituents, your constituents, I don't know, what it is exactly that we're doing?
Well, I want to be clear about this. I share your concerns with you. I think anybody who denies the legitimacy of those concerns isn't approaching this issue thoughtfully. We have to address all of those concerns. What I am coming back to again and again, though, is that this resolution that comes to us in the wake of a Supreme Court decision that came down just last week allows the General Assembly to come back, though it doesn't require, to come back and address those questions and make the determinations necessary to answer those questions as best it can, as it has done now for over 250 years.
So, you know, if we were in committee, I would tell you that was a lot of words, which typically means that we're not going to get to the heart of the question, which is, should we not tell the voters right now that you are not going to have to wonder past today whether we're going to redistrict, who you're going to vote for, what district you're going to live in, and how much it's going to cost the taxpayers to do it before we ask the members in here to burden these voters with a question that's not an answer?
Well, I think it's fair and accurate to say that question will remain or is presented by the adoption of this amendment, because it's not resolved here. It doesn't solve it one way or the other. It doesn't say we are going to redistrict. It doesn't say we are not going to redistrict. And so, yeah, I think it's accurate to say that those questions will remain, because, again, the amendment to the resolution says we might be able to take it up, or we could take it up.
So one last question, because this is something that I've had to answer several times today. Isn't today the day we're supposed to go to the zoo?
Oh, it is.
And so by taking this up and dealing with all this time, doesn't that make members late going to the zoo?
It probably is extending our timeline to getting to the zoo today. Yeah, I think that's fair.
And so, again,
Yes,
if this question before us, this amendment before us, answers no questions, simply causes more to be thought about, we can't do this tomorrow.
Well, I think that's the question before the body. I suspect that there is a overwhelming majority of the body that is satisfied that we can resolve this today, but we can do it whenever the body decides to do it. That's the nature of this sort of governance model.
Well, and I'll ask, I see more questions behind me, and obviously you could refuse to take them and we could cloture this and blah, blah, blah. But again, I didn't stand up to object. I don't know. But I also know that they spend a lot of money inviting us out there and a lot of money setting up for us. And it is rude to not allow people that do all that to get ready for us not to show up. Just my 2 cents.
Well, I have to, I feel like I should address that. I think about that anytime I'm not able to fully appreciate the invitation extended. But I think the obligation in this body goes to all of the citizens of South Carolina to ensure that their congressional districts are apportioned in a way that the law requires. And so while I am grateful to those who are hosting tonight's event, I neither believe we should be, nor believe we will be influenced in our decisions here by the timeline for a social engagement that I'm sure will be wonderful, but that doesn't remove us from the responsibility to handle the business of the people of the state.
Now, let me ask you, you mentioned the
Excuse
word...
me, Mr. Rutherford, Mr. Caskey, your first 10 minutes on the amendment bill has expired. You take your second 10 minutes.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
All right, you're recognized.
You mentioned the word required, but you would agree with me that that is not the appropriate word. The law requires that we do this every 10 years. It has been done. There is no new law, and there was no new law coming from the Supreme Court that requires this. This is what some are choosing to do, maybe the majority, but it is not required that we do this, correct?
Well, I don't have the benefit of hearing back what I said exactly, but we're not required to do. We're not required to do it. We're obligated to stand up for the rights of citizens, and the method by which we do that is a decision for the body to decide. And at present, the question for the body to decide is whether or not to adopt this resolution as amended. People can address that question with whatever conviction brings them to press a button.
And one of those convictions could be that the state of South Carolina throughout its history has decided what day is primary day, when we run, when we file, all of that, and that has been done already. And at this point, by voting for this, you are taking that and tossing it out the window, potentially putting an election on hold, telling candidates that have already been running, raising money from people inside of a district that they may no longer live in because they're giving money to their congressman who went out and told them, I want to represent you. Now we're saying, no, you don't. And again, this does not require that it be done by tomorrow. Nothing to stop us from simply taking this up tomorrow. And again, I'll leave it to other people who want to ask questions.
All right, Mr. Grant is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Caskey, in 2024, the Supreme Court upheld the maps that we currently have, correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay, so if they were upheld, are we now saying with this resolution, with the potential of coming and looking at redistricting, that the maps that the Supreme Court upheld are wrong?
No, not at all. What I think the resolution says by its own terms is that this body can meet to take up questions relating to congressional districts. And in so doing, nothing there is a commentary on the districting that was approved in 24. Rather, this resolution is about an opportunity to address that issue. Again, if the Speaker and the President call us back and if the body decides to take it up.
So if I can move from if to since, because since the Supreme Court ruled on the map, why is there a need to put the amendment in to potentially bring us back?
Well, I think the reason is that there is considerable interest among the membership of the body to take up the issue of congressional redistricting within the framework of the case that just came up. Cahaley, forgive me, I don't recall the exact name of the case. People are mouthing at me what it is, but I don't recall. But in light of the court's decision with respect to redistricting, there is interest in the body to potentially take up this issue. I think those who don't want to take up the issue will have the opportunity to vote against this amendment and this resolution. And those who do will be able to vote up green, and in so doing, we'll have the answer to your question.
My final question, because I want to be respectful, is there a general consensus amongst the body to potentially take this issue up, or because somebody from Washington, D.C. called this week and said we needed to do it?
I have not had conversations with what was the question? No, I don't know. Well, I don't know why we're doing it. The people wanted to do it. That's why. Yeah, people want to take it up, and we'll decide here whether we're going to do that or not.
Mr. Garvin is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Mr. Caskey, for being willing to take my question. A lot of what Mr. Rutherford and what Mr. Grant have hinted on has been addressed, so I won't be repetitive. But a question for you, are you aware of any current maps being floated around, or have you seen any proposed maps?
I have not seen any maps, certainly not in official context. Someone showed me a map on a Facebook page. I don't know whether that was drawn. To answer your question directly, that's the only map I've seen. I'm not aware of the creation of any maps, certainly not in official capacity.
Thank you for that. And what we've seen in other states, Mr. Caskey, is we've seen communities of interest that have been divided. So that is a concern that many of us have. Did you know that what we could potentially be doing by redrawing our maps are dividing communities of interest and really eroding 60 years of progress? Did you know that that was a concern for many of us in this body?
Yes, I know that's a concern.
Thank you, Mr. Caskey. And Mr. Grant talked about this a second ago. So are you saying that you or leadership have not received any pressure from Washington, D.C. to move forward with this?
It would not be appropriate or something that I have direct knowledge of as to what other people have had conversations about. I can tell you I have not had contact with anybody from Washington, and others can answer that.
Are you aware of any conversations from Washington, D.C. with leadership in regards to redrawing maps?
I'm trying to think.
Think hard for me.
I'm not aware of any direct conversations other than that the speaker had indicated that he has had communications with the White House since late last fall, December, January timeframe. Those have been intermittent. I don't know the recency of any of that or who was privy to that. I know other members of the body have claimed to have some conversation with people in Washington. Again, I don't know who that was or when that was. And just to reiterate again, I have not talked to anybody in Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Caskey. One final question. The language says for the amendment, in any other related matters, including but not limited to the 2026 election calendar. I just want to verify that we are only focused on redistricting with the congressional districts, not state house districts, with this sine die resolution.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, Mr. King is recognized for a question. Mr. King.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Caskey, did you know that you were asked a question earlier about ballots being sent out and people voting? Did you know that 5,300 ballots have already been sent?
I did not know that number. I was aware that some ballots had been printed and sent. My understanding it was, for example, service members away from the state in a deployment status, things like that.
Well, we have 53 ballots that have already been sent out, and people are voting as we're speaking. Do you know if the map room will be equipped and open for all members to go in and do proposed congressional districts?
One quick thing. I'm not sure I agree with that people are voting already. My understanding is the early voting period is not opened yet. But again, we do.
200 plus people have already voted.
Okay. I welcome that correction. I don't follow the particularities of that. My understanding is the early voting period has not yet opened. I do agree with you that some ballots have been sent out. I agree with Mr. Rutherford that time is absolutely a consideration and one that the body will have to balance if and when it takes up these ideas or these issues. And the last part of your question relates to, forgive me.
Will the map room be open to all members of the General Assembly to go in and draw the maps? Will every member that's in this chamber have an opportunity to go into the map room?
What I can tell you is the operation of a map room is not within the province of the Rules Committee. It's not my decision, not my determination. I would expect that we would conduct the redistricting process like we have historically in terms of its logistical elements like map rooms and things like that. But I'm not in a position to make that kind of commitment to you because I don't control that.
Did you know that I oppose any type of redistricting right now? Because did you know that if for some unforeseen reason that the minority party that's present in the U.S. Senate was to become the majority party, did you know that our most senior member Representative Clyburn would be over the Finance Committee, which would be beneficial to the state of South Carolina?
I'm aware that a change in party control in D.C. would have a profound set of consequences.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Cobb-Hunter is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Caskey, thank you so much for your report. And you may have answered this already. I was out in the lobby chatting. Tell me how much this is going to cost. In the event that we pass this, is there a map anywhere that we can look at?
I'm not aware of any map being.
Oh, I thought I...
All right, Mr. Caskey, your time on the amendment has expired.
Most regrettable.